In a world where golf clubs have never been more expensive, have we found the answer to good performing, good budget, affordable irons? Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson and welcome to this YouTube channel. Today I have a certain set of clubs which may well transform your ideology on golf as a whole and, to be honest, really make you rethink your budget when it comes to buying your new irons. You see, we all like having the latest and greatest. We all like having irons that help us with our game, but none of us really like spending too much money on irons. So today we're going to compare the Ping I530 irons, which come in at a price of, rather expensive, against the Takomo 101T irons, a hollow-bodied forgiving iron, and as you can see for the price, it's pretty much half. So how much difference would you expect to see when it comes to both these irons, and just what would you anticipate the big differences to be when it comes to the numbers? We're going to go inside today as well and talk numbers. We're going to kick things off out here at quite a wintry Woolley Park Golf Club, and I have the 8 irons to start with. So for me, both these irons look really good. They look really forgiving and look like they're going to do the job that we want them to. The 8 iron in the I530 actually looks really small, smaller than you would think. But straight away, that feels absolutely gorgeous. Now, I've not been, that's actually a really, really good opening shot. I've never been a huge fan of Ping irons. For me, they always feel that little bit firm. They always feel that little bit meh. But when it comes to the I530 with that forged element, I think they've actually done a really good job of making these feel a little bit more soft, I suppose is the right word. So let's go to Takomo and let's see what the big differences are, because we all know Takomo are kind of taking the golf world by storm at the moment with their really well produced and really well priced irons. But can they stand up to the big brands like Ping with the I530? They're identical. Two really good strikes. Let's get down there and see which one's closest. Ooh. And you see, for me, when it comes to money and it comes to these two clubs, what would you do with that kind of big saving, that £500, £600 saving? You could spend it on lessons, you could spend it on green fees, on membership. If you're joining a big money golf club at the moment, maybe you need all the money you can get. We do. Now, I have done videos similar to this against kind of like the TaylorMade irons and the Kirkland irons, and I honestly think there's a storm coming for the big brands. And I don't think it's just Takomo. I think there's other brands out there that are potentially going to really upset the apple cart when it comes to how much money people can charge for golf clubs. That direct-to-consumer model, like it or love it or hate it, does work for a lot of people. Putting a premium shaft in there like a KVS 120. Ooh. So this is interesting. Now, the closer shot is the Takomo. The longer shot is the Ping. And when we do talk numbers later on in this video, you might be interested to see just what the differences are when it comes to distance, but also consistency. Okay, so numbers wise, let's kick off with the pitching wedges. The striking difference straight away between the Takomo and the Ping G530 is, of course, they have different letters on the bottom, which is quite strange, but Ping have always had that W for wedge, whereas Takomo have opted with the more traditionalist P for pitching wedge. So I've set a green out there at 130 yards. Now, both these irons are fairly strong lofted. Both of them are hollow bodied. I would anticipate that 130 should get there with ease realistically, but I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. So same KBS shafts in here as well. And we're going to just, I think I've duffed that one. It's not a great start, but it's gone 115. Now, consistency is going to be the big factor here that I want to work through. We never take numbers out of these tests because I like to see how they perform on miss hits just like that one. And the feel of this 101T is a really interesting one. I mean, that's a much better one straight away. Still not as long as I would have anticipated, but 121, bang on line with the flag. It feels quite, now this isn't wrote down to say, it feels quite pingy. And not as in a ping club, but as in a ping off the face, which is quite strange, you could say. Hello? Good swing as well, unfortunately. Better. That's a lot better. That should be all over it, I would think. 115, so not the longest of pitching wedges here with the Takomo. I feel like I'm putting good swings on these as well. Wouldn't really want to change too much in the dynamics. I think the ping is going to be longer than this, you know. I really do. Very consistent. They're all around that kind of 120 number. Look at the consistency of them there. That's pretty good. Now we're going to the ping. This ping looks fantastic. I love how many grooves are on that face. Strikingly looking down at it, I feel like this just looks like it's going to be quite powerful. Now that felt a lot firmer. Looks to have gone a little bit higher, and that's going a pretty long way. That's going exactly the distance I would anticipate. 130 yards, releasing out to 133. Spinning at around 8,000, which again is what I kind of would anticipate with this style of pitching wedge. That was a little bit duffy as well. Have I got away with that? 120 on the nose. Very similar to the Takomo numbers that we were seeing a little bit earlier on with this pitching wedge. And guys, how much difference would you anticipate to see when it comes down to the budget, when it comes down to the money that we know is so important to us all? I feel like the ping's coming off hotter. Like even with the strike, with that little kind of cutty one, that's a 133, stopping pretty much dead, to be honest. Spinning again at 8,000. And well struck. I'm going to go back into the Takomo in a second, because I have had a warm-up, but I don't feel like there should be as much difference here. That's going to be around 130 again, maybe just short of 120. I don't think I'm striking these as well as I think I'm, you know. I think I'm being a little bit inconsistent here. Maybe I've cut across that one, which I have. Face path open and the path was left. We're back in the Takomo. Can we get it 130? And we're not trying to hit these any harder. I'm just putting that everyday swing on it to see what we do get. It's 120 on the nose again. So very, very consistent there. The one thing I would say is, yes, the ping's gone further, but the Takomo was very consistent. And I think... What's that one? Because that's just a nice, easy swing. Is it 120 again? I don't look. 121. Very impressive and very interesting. Now, the really interesting thing when we do talk about the pitching wedges in this set is that I'm going to test these from 100 yards. Now, a full pitching wedge for me should be around a kind of 130, maybe with this kind of head design a little bit longer than that. But for me, it's important with a hollow-bodied iron to see, can I play that kind of knockdown shot? Can I control this shot as I want to? So we'll go Takomo first. Press that one on the leaf, because why not with the time of year? And it's 99, well, it's 97 uphill. It's playing exactly 100. What kind of shot can we get? Takomo, the head looks gorgeous. It's quite rounded, very minimal offset. Nice top line. 100. Is that on it? I feel like it should be. I think I've took the right amount off. That's the exact shot I want to play. So lovely and flighted. It stopped on a dime. Not really because of spin, more because of landing angle. Can we recreate it with the ping? So I look down at the ping. The ping looks a lot more blade-like. It looks a lot more scary, I suppose you could say, looking at it. You know it's still got that help behind. You know there's a massive soul underneath that, and you know that it's still going to be quite forgiving. But I quite do, to be honest, I really like the look of this. I think if you're looking for a club that kind of looks like a player's club but doesn't really perform like a player's club, this could be the one. Can we get closer than the Takomo? 100 yards. Totally different feel. It's launched higher, but I think distance-wise it's perfect. Let's go and see which one's closer there, because I feel like they're two totally different shots. And once again, if you're a huge ping fan and you like that kind of clicky sound off the face, these could be the one for you. If you prefer that kind of more traditional forged, sleek, kind of soft feel off the face, maybe it's not. But let's get the divots actually. The ping divot went further, if that helps anyone. So the closest pitching wedge there was the first shot we hit. That was the Takomo. Again, the longest is the ping. but that's not necessarily helping us there because it means we are in fact further away. So just because it's the longest club, does that mean maybe we've got less control? Very interestingly, so the gradient might play a part in this, but the Takomo stopped dead on a dime, even though it was a slightly lower shot than the ping. The ping came in from a kind of higher height, steeper landing angle, something like that. But it's actually kicked forward a little bit more. So yes, this area of the green's a little bit flatter than that area of the green, but it's kind of food for thought, isn't it? That if you want control, which is the best one? Okay, so now we move on to the numbers with the 8 iron, the mid iron, and both these irons do look phenomenal. I think they look fantastic and a lot better than the kind of bigger brother counterparts in the G700 range and in the kind of standard Takomo 101s. The ping looks actually quite players-like. It looks quite small, and that feels quite firm. I think ping irons to me have always felt firm. That's how the ping fans generally like them. That's 155 right-hand side of the green. Nice spin at just over 7,000. And for me, I've set up a green here at 160 yards, or a flag at 160, should I say. So I feel like, again, I feel like these should be power irons. I feel like they should go a long way. At the moment, they're both performing like a standard forged iron. Oh, that's an awful strike. That's an awful strike with the ping. What's that carrying? For that to carry 150 is incredible. Look at where I struck it on the replay. Oh, good Lord, that was incredibly toey. The spins dropped dramatically, but it still managed to get nice and airborne. Polar opposite, that was a lovely big high fade. Pitch around 155, 159, so bang on the number that we're wanting. 163 total, almost 7 iron numbers for me. And that's exactly what I would expect and what you guys potentially would expect when buying a set of hollow bodied irons like these. That's going to be massive because I pulled that and struck it well. The spin's down at 6.5. That could carry 170. The great thing about them is I kind of know what's coming. Like you hit the shot and as soon as you hit it immediately you think, oh, that's going to be long. And not long in a good way. That's not really the shot you want to be able to hit. You want it to go the same distance. A little bit high right, a good spin. That's the miss hit I want. I want my miss hit to go 155 just right hand side, not 170 long. Let's go one more ping, then we'll go Takomo. Is that low spin one? 6,000. It's going to pitch on it. I'm really happy with that. 159 on the nose. Quite sporadic front to back, which is almost why I don't really like the hollow-bodied system as a whole. Let's go to Takomo now. If it's anything like the pitching wedge, Takomo 101T 8 iron should maybe not go as far as the ping, but potentially be a little bit more consistent. So it depends entirely on what you want from that. And I will say that the Takomo looks really sleek from this angle. The ping actually looks a little bit bigger, but put them down at the ball and the ping looks sleeker and the Takomo looks bigger. That's a very, very strange ideology, but I think it's true. Okay, same flag location, same club, just the Takomo. Immediately you do feel that difference, and the Takomo feels soft. That spinning at 6.6, it's going to be on the nose. That's impressive. That's impressive if we don't hit one in this test that carries less than 150. So I'm going to miss-hit some. That's generally how these tests go. We're not trying to hit the skin off them. We're just trying to hit consistent nice shots. Is this the same? 157-ish. 154. Still, that's 2 in the ring in a row. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? 2 in the ring in a row. 154, 158 total. So far, feel-wise, there's no contest. That's the right one. The ping handled this really well. Oh no. It's a 148. So that shot with the ping, I'll replay it for you now, that still maintains a little bit more speed. It still goes that kind of 154, 155. So potentially the tech in the ping is helping there. and that's as good a golf swing as I've got. This is the one, maybe it might go a bit longer. 156.7, it's exactly the same. That's so impressive. That's low out the face. And we've not had one that's really, for a better term, tough, have we? That's the longest we've had at 161. If I really hit this, try and get that kind of low spin pull, does it go? I don't think it does. I think it's just designed to be more consistent. 163. It's not on the back fringe. Two great clubs. Now, when it comes to aesthetics for both these sets of golf clubs, I think it's very, very interesting how, let's get the 4-irons out and have a look at these, just how good both these clubs look. They both look good in their own different way. They both have that kind of hollow body design, as you can see, so it's kind of like a stepped effect on the back. I really like how Ping have kept it sleek and classic looking whilst featuring all that technology. This Ping I530 does feature a handful of technology that can potentially help you hit the golf ball further, get more forgiveness, also enhance that feel which Ping have struggled with for years and years. I do feel like the Takomo looks a little bit more traditional, which is quite ridiculous really when you do think about it, because a brand new golf iron that looks more traditional than a Ping, is that even a thing? But then I know the guys at Takomo fairly well. I've reviewed all their golf clubs and spoke to them at length about what they're kind of looking for when making and designing golf clubs. And one of that areas is that kind of traditional looking aspect. They're well aware that if they come into the market and introduce some kind of real futuristic looking products, no one's going to really take it seriously. But you make a golf club that looks this good and you charge this much, people very quickly start to take you seriously. And that's not to mention how good these irons look down at the ball or at address. For me, the top line's that perfect size, that the offset's that kind of perfect angle, and the blade length is pretty good as well. Now, there is a bigger version than these. There is the Takomo 101s. They're the more forgiving game improvement iron. They look a little bit ugly to me, but when you look at the job they're doing, you look at whose bag they're going to go in, actually being able to have a club that still looks pretty traditional, still pretty blade-like to be honest, just with more offset and a bigger hollow cavity, it's doing the job, isn't it? So, how consistent can these 4-irons be? I actually put this Takomo 101T 4-iron in my bag for a brief spell because I found it quite nice feel, but also really forgiving. So, just down towards that tree. Like feel-wise, honestly doesn't get much better than that. And for the budget that we're talking about, I'll be amazed to see how much difference you guys would hope there is for that money. Because would you save £500–600 if the Takomos don't go as far and just hit one more club? Or is that totally against the idea of it all? Let's go Ping. Now the Ping long irons do have quite a bit of offset actually. I did mention this when I talk about the numbers inside, and for me, I worry that this would maybe go left on me, but again, the top line looks good, the blade length's pretty perfect. And it's just that little bit more of a clicky feel, it's a firmer feel. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Be interesting to see just how far they've gone. I cut the Ping a little bit. I feel like I was maybe fighting the offset just a touch. But if you're a Ping fan, you're not going to like that real soft feel anyway. You're going to want something that's a little bit more of a homage to that Ping feel, with them always being cast traditionally, but now they're forged. So they feel a little bit better, maybe. Okay, so when it comes to technology in these clubs, that is where you could say the big differences lie when we are talking about the monetary value of these irons. So what do Ping say about the I530 iron? So they do feature a forged steel C300 face, they feature that compact blade style head, the internal weight pad that provides a deeper, thinner face to sole transition for more face flexing. That's going to help you with ball speeds and distance and all the rest. They also feature a lower CG, which is interesting in a hollow-bodied iron. That, together with the distance-optimized lofts, delivers approximately 3 more yards. So if these go 3 more yards further than Takomos, then fair enough. They also feature the Micro Max grooves. Now that's really interesting to me because they look so damn good. They're meant to ensure a consistent launch and spin, but for me, they actually just make the face look a little bit kinder, which I'm all here for. Now contrast that with the Takomo 101Ts. Yes, there is technology in the 101Ts. They of course feature that tungsten weight in the tail. They also feature that hollow body design, but they haven't gone to the lengths of the kind of micro max grooves. They haven't gone to the lengths of some of the technology that's in the Ping, but saving that on R&D and of course saving potentially on the marketing element that Ping kind of spend probably a little bit more on, although Ping aren't that bad anymore, are they? It's mainly the other big two, but that's where you can really kind of make those savings, and of course being D2C saves you the money. The real argument here isn't really about the performance of these clubs, because to be honest, I like them both. It's about money. Money, money, money. Rather interestingly, the Takomo is here, left-hand side of the fairway again. Felt like a nice shot. You can see it's got some mud on it, so it's not going to have rolled that far. The Ping's all the way over there. I mean, I would hate to have that shot left in because that tree's blocking us out. But that's, again, it's a fairway pass. Now, it was a lower shot. It could have skipped on a little bit more, so we have to take that into account. But I think distance-wise, 2 for 2 or even 3 for 3, the Ping's looking hot. But what you don't want is that one that kind of jumps on you. So we've got to take that into account as well. What would you do? Okay, so 4 iron numbers. We're going to start with Takomo 101. We've kind of been in and out of starting clubs. This should be around a kind of just over 200 carry, release out to 220. This will be interesting because I reckon that's about on the nose of what I've said. 205, 202, 217 total. I think with these 4 irons, they're both going to be fairly forgiving. A bad one's going to be just shy of 200. A good one, I think a good one we could maybe get to carry 210, even 215 if you really produce your best golf swing. Well, that's going to be massive, but it's out of bounds left. That's me trying to produce my best golf swing. That's scarily bad. It's 215, it's 230 total, but it's left. So that's designed, obviously 3.9 spin. It's maintained its spin, quite happy with that. Let's try and hit another fairly big one. That's a toey one, so I can't wait to see what that does. I do like testing these, and I do like seeing, see that's dropped off quite dramatically. That's a 182. 198 total. I love testing these and hitting them bad because I feel like a lot of times when you are getting fit for irons, maybe you're excitable, maybe you're thinking, oh, these could be the ones. You do produce good swings, but I like seeing what they do with everyday terrible ones. Oh, that hurt me back. There's a very interesting pattern with where these 4 irons are finishing, and they're all up that left side. That is obviously down to me. I don't mind the offset on the 101T. It's a lot more subtle than the 101. That's almost as good as I've got. It's a little bit high spin, but it feels like a really, really nice strike. Pitching over 200, 215 total. One more Takomo, then we'll go Ping. I think Ping will be longer than this. I'm going to try and hit the same swings on. What is that? Oh, get the 4 irons out, James, why not? Immediately, this scares me because there's more offset on here. There's quite a lot of offset on here, and this, if the bad shots were left with the Takomo, then Lord help us with this. I'm not going to aim right on the base of it. I'm going to aim straight. Look at that. Maybe the offset's not a problem. That's 250. That's ridiculous. That's a 215 carry, 230 total. Interestingly, both these brands do kind of driving irons when you get up to the 4 iron. So Takomo has the 101U. Ping obviously has crossover. That's what it is, crossover. I don't know if subconsciously I'm fighting that offset because that's gone, I mean, it's gone really well for the strike, 194. But it's one straight and one right. Feels clickier, and that's not, I mean, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's totally what you want. That's ridiculous. 215 carry, that's ridiculous again. 230 total. They're absolute powerhouses, and these are the standard lofts, not retro. They're not power spec'd. I mean, if you miss the grooves, none of them are going to perform. That's as good as I'm ever going to hit a 4-iron. That could carry 220. 219.6. Insanity. Positives for both and negatives for both. I think a lot of it comes down to obviously how much money you want to spend and what kind of golfer you are. If you want to go and get fitted for your golf clubs, Ping are the obvious ones to go to because you can't get fitted for a Takomo. If you're fairly new to golf or you kind of know what shafts you want and you want to save some money and you want something that maybe doesn't perform kind of to the levels of the massive brands but saves you a fortune, then Takomo are obviously the ones to go and get, aren't they? I'd buy the Takomos and I'd go and get retrofitted at somewhere like SGGT like I did with my 301s because I think you get the best of both worlds and you can buy the head separately and save yourself a fortune.